Something that really bothers me and like honestly has given me a sense of a little bit of an insecurity is the fact that, yeah, like there are all these women like throwing themselves, but me, like the past 10 years, like I don't have any of that. Like I have zero, this sounds weird, but like male attention. And so then like I begin to internalize it and I'm like, is something wrong with me?
You're not looking.
What,
You're not
like,
looking.
Cause I'm a boss.
In today's video, I'm going to be talking about Ayesha Curry's interview that was done on the Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett Smith. And I also wanted to bring to light why people, and mostly women, are going in on her about what was said on the Red Table Talk, because back in 2015, Ayesha Curry made some very judgmental comments about women who don't dress as conservative as her, and she was being very judgy, and she was basically belittling the women who don't dress the same as her or dress less than her. So with her recent interview, she gave those same women fuel to go in on her ass, and I don't feel bad for her. I feel when you put yourself out there to voice your opinion and do it in a way where you kind of put yourself on a pedestal and you're looking down at people who are different than you, I don't feel bad for people like that. I have even done that, and it made me realize, like, hey, I need to word some of the things that I say differently, because I'm not coming across like I'm better. I don't really feel that way, but sometimes when you say things and you say it a certain way, it can come across that way and people can take it that way. So that's why everyone is really going in on this girl online, because of what she said back in 2015 about what she wears and how she dresses versus other women. And even in some of her interviews, she comes across like she's better than, like she doesn't want to wear the title of being an NBA wife. She thinks that title is beneath her. So just like little things that she does or little things that she says comes across like she's better than in almost everything that she does. And I think that comes from just growing up the way that she grew up, in the environment and background that she comes from. She just has that demeanor. But all in all, I really wanted to break down what was said and actually try to find reason and understanding of what she meant behind what she said, instead of judging this girl for what she said. Because at the end of the day, I think as women, we can all relate to what she's going through and her transparency, and people are using that against her, but they're only using that against her because of her demeanor and sometimes how she comes across when she states a certain thing. So let's go ahead and get into this video.
You're juggling 8 different titles, if I can say it.
Obviously, mom and wife first. Those are the 2 most important titles.
Oh, right. And she's married to this guy, 2-time NBA champ Steph Curry.
And yet one of the titles you didn't say is NBA wife.
Yeah, no, I don't think...
That's not really a title in your view.
It's not, no. I don't think I'll ever call myself that, because I feel like... I mean, I don't think my husband would call himself chef's wife.
The childhood sweethearts met in their local church youth group. She was 14, Steph was just 15.
And we didn't start dating until he was in college, but we're going on a decade.
That's
this
incredible.
August. I'm like,
oh my God. I love the way you both support each other, though.
Yeah, I think it's important. One thing that my mom always told me was to never lose yourself inside of your marriage. My husband's like, last year, he's like, for the whole year, he's been like, okay, like time for another one. I'm like, give me a minute to breathe.
I know.
At just 28, she's clearly not slowing down. Just last month, she made the coveted Forbes 30 Under 30 list.
Ayesha Curry is a well-rounded, accomplished, young woman. She's a mother, she's a wife. She has all of these different titles that she carries with her on the daily. And then she also has the pressure of being a NBA wife. And she doesn't even want to be labeled that. And I understand why, because what is that? You know, like, what title is that? That's not a real accomplishment to her. And another thing that I noticed about her was she really prides herself on being the good girl, the alpha female, the overachiever, the cookie cutter perfect type of woman. And she puts a lot of pressure on herself to be all of these things. And what did I learn from doing research on this? I learned that sometimes as women, we put too much pressure on ourselves. We give ourselves anxiety, and sometimes that formulates insecurities within ourselves because we apply so much freaking pressure. And with her being just 30 years old and being a young mom and a wife, she has those insecurities, and she makes it worse by trying to live up to all of these titles. I wanted to talk about this because I saw my life turning out like this. I saw my life being this, and not in a good way. This is a woman who has everything. She has the family life. She has the husband who has a great career, successful career. She has her own successful career. And at the end of the day, she still isn't 100% happy. Happiness, sometimes you find it in the weirdest places, and sometimes it's the most simplest things. We think happiness equals money. We think happiness equals this perfect guy, but in reality, happiness comes from within. And I think she can't find it, or she can't really live in her happiness because she's so focused on living up to this title, that title, that she's not allowing herself to be human and to breathe and to just be her and to bask in her identity. I don't even think she truly knows what her identity is because she applies so much focus on what she feels she has to do instead of doing for herself. And I see a lot of young women who are married, who married young, they are dealing with this. So it's weird to see women online attack her as if they can't relate. I think we can all relate to her situation. It's not something that we should be pointing the finger and making fun of, because at the end of the day, we are all women. We're all going to deal with this at some point, similar situations to what she's going through.
What's been the most difficult part of it for you?
Trying to figure out how to balance work life, mom life, and being a wife. And sometimes I want to give up the work life because I feel like, am I cheating my children of my quality time with them? Am I cheating my husband out of like me solely being there for him all the time? It takes a lot of quiet time, solitude, like searching within yourself, taking a deep breath and being like, okay, no, this is okay. I got this. Because I spent a little while not doing these things, and I think I was kind of miserable.
Oh, I'm with you. I went through that phase of like not working and like, okay, I'm just gonna concentrate on my kids, I'm gonna concentrate on my husband, and I turned into a terror.
Well, and then like, look what happens, like your children grow up and then they leave and they start their own beautiful lives, and then you're left with the person you started it all with. Saying, who am I? And so like, I just want to make sure that when that happens, like I'm good and I still have a sense of self.
Now I want to move on to what was the most controversial thing that was said from her interview. And it was about how she wants male attention. Now, I feel like most of us understood where she was coming from. After being married for so many years and having 3 kids, you still want to be looked at as desirable. Every woman wants that, and you shouldn't feel guilty for feeling that way. Now, by her saying what she said, I do feel like it opened the door for her marital home front to be compromised, because now she has opened the door publicly to let it be known that that's something that she wants. Now, we all know that she basically meant she wanted to see if she still had it, if she still got it. She wants to see if she still can be looked at as this desirable human being to the male species. And that's understandable because every woman wants their sexy. Like every woman wants to feel sexy, and feeling sexy is confidence, and feeling sexy is power, and she wants that back after being a mom of 3, and she wants to feel that way. I don't think she actually wants male attention to cheat or to have personal relationships with these men. She just wants to feel desirable again after being married and after having 3 kids. She's 30 years old. This woman is still young. She's in her prime, and she still wants to feel desirable. I personally wanted to talk about this because I feel like it's the lack of support from her husband that's causing her to really feel this way. And when you look at their relationship, throughout the interview, she was complaining about how Steph doesn't really, he's not dominant. He's not a dominant man. He's more of a beta male, and a beta male is someone who doesn't know when to step in and just do. They don't know when to step in and get things done. They typically ask instead of react, and I think she wants a man who's more dominant. Now, a lot of times whenever you say dominant, people automatically assume a hyper toxic masculine man. A dominant man is not hyper masculine. A dominant man is basically the difference between they do versus a beta male is they ask what to do. And I feel Steph is one of those men. He doesn't just take control over situations. He kind of asks what needs to be done so then things can get done. But Ayesha is she's very independent, and she's an alpha female, and I think she just wants someone of her equal. She gets a little frustrated with him at times because that's something that she needs and she's not getting, and she's trying to be patient. She's voicing her opinion, and that's one of the things that I caught in her interview, is that he's coming across like he's not the type to really be dominant and take control and actually bring more to the table other than just being a man. Like, there are emotional things that you have to be tied to when it comes to your marriage, and I don't think he's being that for her. He's more of a pushover, he's more relaxed, laid back, and she really doesn't want that. But when you marry young, things like that, as a woman, you don't really know or you don't really understand because you're young and your needs are different. But after being married for so long and going from being that 14-year-old girl to now being this 30-year-old woman, your needs change. Your needs are different. You have 3 kids now. It would be nice for him to just step in and do, but he's not that type. He doesn't take on that role as a man in their marriage. And she was voicing that as well. If you decode some of the things that she was saying, he's not dominant. She's the alpha female, and she basically runs the household within their marriage.
Stefan is like very nice by nature, and he's very talkative. He's just like you. He gets it from his mama. And so like everything's always like very, very friendly, and sometimes to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm a grown woman, so I'll just insert myself. He doesn't necessarily know how to deal with that because he's like he's
a nice guy,
nice human being.
and he just wants
and he
everybody
can't
to
see
be
it
cool.
coming. Yeah, he can't see it coming. I see it from a mile away.
So I wanted to include this couple that I follow on Instagram, Deval and Kadeem. I feel like they demonstrate the perfect balance within a marriage. Of course, Deval comes across like he's the dominant one within their relationship, but he's also emotionally supportive. I wanted to give a good example of what a dominant man looks like, because I think sometimes women try to make it seem like dominant men are narcissist, controlling, manipulative, but I've seen a healthy version of that, including my father, my dad, and then this couple that I follow online. They have a great balance within their relationship, and he makes her feel secure within their relationship, their marriage, after having 3 kids. He even helped her at one point to get her body back after she had their 3rd child. So I wanted to show you guys an example of what that looks like. Not every man who is dominant out here is trying to manipulate you or control you. It's simply the difference between a man who will simply just do without asking, and a man that versus a man that you have to ask to do everything. It's a huge difference, and it's something that I'm personally experiencing right now for the first time in my life. I am talking to a guy who is a alpha male who's dominant, and I a lot of times find myself not asking him to do certain things. Like, he'll just take that extra step and do it for me, and I don't have to ask. I've never had that, and it's like, wow, it's different, you guys. So I think I wanted to point this out because it's important for women to know the difference before you just jump in a relationship, or worse, a marriage, and not really know the difference and not really know what your needs are as a woman. Some women don't need that dominant male role, but some women do, and I feel like Ayesha Curry is one of those women who simply need that. So I'm going to be closing out this video with that, you guys. Make sure you comment down below your opinion on the situation. I want to hear from you guys. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that notification bell so that you're notified for when I upload. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.